Andrew Tate just lost to Chase Demoor and he's finished. I never want to see him fight again. I never want to see him on my timeline talking about being an alpha male. I don't want to see it. Let me also make this clear. Chase is not good at fighting, yet somehow Tate still lost to him. This begs the question about why would Tate even take this fight to begin with? Well, obviously the money, even though I'm not sure how much he got paid, but if he knew how this fight would play out, he wouldn't have taken it. Tate thought this was going to be a really easy fight, and it should have been. And people were going to be talking about him as some really good fighter, but he couldn't even beat an awful boxer. The difference between this fight and the Jake Paul fight is that you could have told Jake the result of the Joshua fight beforehand, and he would have still taken it, because he knew exactly what was going to happen. His goal wasn't to win, it was to survive. He wasn't able to do that, but I don't think he regrets anything about taking that fight. His goal was to earn millions, and he did that. I don't think Tate's only goal with this fight was just a payday. This damages his brand and his money-making ability going forward. People are going to throw this in his face anytime he talks about being an alpha male. Tate won the first 2 rounds, but even when he won, he looked bad. Nothing he landed was significant. The conclusion I came to after watching the first 2 rounds was that Chase is awful, and Andrew Tate is up 2 rounds, but he is also awful. There is an argument for a tie. One of the judges did score the fight 3-3, and I could absolutely see that, but it's not a robbery at all. It being a tie wouldn't have made it any better for Tate. Actually, if we're being honest, even if the judges somehow scored the fight in his favor, it still wouldn't help him. The damage has been done. Everybody saw him look awful against an awful opponent. At least Jake Paul got embarrassed by Anthony Joshua. Jake Paul beats both Tate and Chase. That's not a hot take at all. Paul would be a pretty sizable favorite against the both of them. Andrew looked embarrassed after the fight. I don't know how he's going to try and spin this. I actually don't think he'll make any excuses. I think he'll take the defeat in stride and talk about how it takes guts to step into the ring and he respects anyone who chooses to do so. But he looked embarrassed after the fight. And even more than him, Tristan Tate looked like he didn't want to be there. He sees the future comments. He knows how people are going to react to this. This is why I think the only reason he took this fight was because he was 100% certain that he was going to win. A loss just does too much damage to him and his brother's brand. They both realize that in the ring, and they can't say anything about fighting anymore. Because it's not like he lost a fight to Alex Pereira or John Jones or Anthony Joshua. He lost to a guy who can't box. A guy who he was supposed to beat so they could build up Tate to fight somebody else, I'm assuming. Instead, Tate lost and a guy who sucks at boxing won. People are going to celebrate this loss. And listen, I'm not for kicking a man while he's down, but after you put on a performance like that and you're supposed to be the alpha male, the top G, people will take this chance to pile on as much as they can. Anytime he says anything, photos of his face after the fight will be under the replies. I don't think there is any coming back from this for Andrew Tate.